these high probability trade setups that we use. So again, welcome, and I appreciate you being here, and let's move on. First thing I've got to do, as I said, I've got to do the disclaimer. All signals and trading opportunities we provide are for education and demonstration purposes only. You've probably heard this a few times. Trading is very risky. You should never trade with more money than you can afford to lose, and neither myself or Right Line Trading are licensed financial advisors, so we won't be giving financial advice. All right, so that gets the disclaimer out of the way. And by the way, if you have to leave early or have any questions, you can put them in the question box. You can also put your name and number in there, or your Skype username, and Rory from Right Line will get back to you to one time, just to answer any questions you might have. And again, you can also call 786-732-4656. Jot that down, and if you want to call him, he'll be able to answer any questions you have relative to questions that I can't answer. All right, so let's move on. Again, this is one of the systems we use is called the SPY Super System, and how we use it when we're tracking institutional money flow. Very important, and this is how this system works and how we find these very high probability trade setups. We're finding institutional money, and we're finding market internals to tell us what the money flow is. Okay, so this alert service, I just wanted this kind of just a slide to show you can take trades on the go. Basically, the alert service will come up on your phone here with an SMS text alert. It'll say David Wise Alert Service, and it'll tell you exactly what the particular trade is that we're taking, with all the details you need to put it on. I'll go over all of those as we move forward here. Okay, first thing I want to cover, and I always do this, is I want to cover the market, and I want to make sure that everybody understands what creates market trends and what doesn't. And this is just kind of a little graphic. These little marbles here are retail traders. These are traders like myself and you. And there's millions of retail traders around the country and around the world. And we as retail traders do not have the ability to create a trend in the market or reverse a trend in the market. All right, move the market at all. Basically, we can it'll chop around. So when only retail traders are in a trade, what you're getting is what would be considered chop and chaos. You're just getting lots and lots of red-green candles all mixed together. No rhyme or reason, no pattern. And this is when the retail traders are in there, and you don't want to be in there when just the retail traders are in there. This is the institutions that drive the market. And the institutions that drive the market are huge. This is every investment bank you can think of. Goldman Sachs is there, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, HSBC. All the big banks trade. I mean, they trade, they invest, and they also trade. Now, also in here would be all the hedge funds, hundreds of hedge funds that trade every day. And then you've also got your 401ks, 401ks that are also trading with billions of dollars of money. And you also have pension funds. Some of these pension funds are huge, from state employees, firemen, police. There's big, huge pension funds. They all have billions of dollars as well. This is the institutions, and this is the folks who move the market. When these folks are in the market, when they're buying or when they're selling a stock or an index, that's when you want to be in there trading. And our job as retail traders to be profitable is to be able to know when that's taking place and take advantage of it. I mean, that's how we will make money, by taking it from these other retail traders who don't know that the institutions are in there making these trades. All right, so that's what we're going to show how we do that. That's the key. We've got to know what the institutions are doing. All right, this I just throw this up here. This is the SPY as of yesterday. You notice the SPY was fell down. Well, actually, no, this is well before yesterday. We've already recovered from this. This was one where I kind of wanted to show that one thing we talked about in the room was when the SPY was falling like this, and we got this bounce right here. That it had not hit the 200-day moving average. It seemed to get close to it, but it did not hit it. And one of the things we talked about in the room was we don't want to be going long for any long period of time here, because this is not likely a real test. It hasn't hit the 200. The market very rarely goes down near the 200, but doesn't hit it. and then goes back up again and doesn't reverse back down and cover it again, which it did. So this is the market that we were waiting for it to move up. You see it went right up here to the 50-day moving average and then rolled over and came right back down. And again, we've recovered from that. We go down, got through the 200, bounced up, and we went right up through the 50, and we closed between the 100 and the 50-day moving average today right in here. So that's what the market is doing. And it's very important to understand what the market is doing when you're making trades, because the market moves most stocks. 75 or 80% of the stocks are moved by what the market's doing, and the market is moved by what the institutions are doing. So it's all related. Again, yeah, here's the SPY trade as of yesterday. This was the SPY, and again, you see how it came down, didn't get to the 200, moved up, came back down through the 200. This was a test of the 200, and then we bounced right back up again. We went through the 200, through the 50. We had these 8 days in a row right up, and then today, this is where we finished yesterday. Today, we're right down here to the 50-day moving average, retraced right down here. So we're stuck between the 50 and the 100-day moving average, which means we don't have any real indication of a trend in the market right now. It could break down to back below the 50, or it could break up through the 100 on some volume and head higher. We don't know that. We have to wait till the market does that before we can decide. And this is very impactful for swing trades. For intraday trades, it's not that critical. We can trade the market intraday every day, just based on what the market's doing. But for any kind of a swing trade, it's a very good idea to have some idea of what the market's doing. So this is where it all starts. You have to be aware of where the market is, what it's doing, because it's going to make a big difference to the size that you take on your trade. If you've got a market that's trending, like on these here, on these uptrends, we get through the 200, you could go long here, and you could take some decent size because you knew we're in a nice trend. Now you can't do that. You got to take small size and basically not have too many overnight positions right now. Okay. And again, this is the SPY here. I just kind of want to show you what the SPY was when it was heading down. This was before it hit the 200. This is the compass system, just to kind of introduce you to what the compass system is, running on Thinkorswim. And this is the software that we use to find institutions and to find what they're doing. And we have several different lines here. Anything that's red or yellow is bearish. Anything that's blue or green is bullish. You can see we had mixed colors here. What you're looking for is you're looking for all these indicators to align up. This is the current time frame momentum. This is a multi-time frame momentum, and this is a longer-term trend. Longer-term trend, multi-time frame momentum, current time frame momentum. And if you look at the little red line here, that's the 15 EMA. That's the 50. You see the 15 EMA. That is your current trend. Your current trend on the daily chart was to the downside. So that's what all of these lines are telling us, and it's important that they line up for us to know that the institutions are doing this. We can see here clearly that the institutions were selling the SPY. All right, so let's just cover what we do in the room and on the alert service. What's the strategies that we use? We're pretty much using options all the time, but we'll use them with different strategies. We do a lot of straight calls and puts. Obviously, that's the most common one. We also use debit spreads using weekly options expiration. This is one we use a lot, and it's very, very effective. It's one that I found that works really well. I didn't really find it until I was logging all my trades through TraderSync, TraderView. I'm sorry, everything goes into TraderView, which is where all my trades go in, and I can go in and look at what happened there. And I noticed that spreads that had weekly options expirations ended up with a much better ROI than anything that was out 2 or 3 weeks or a month. So we do a lot of those. We also do what's called time spreads over earnings. You might call it a calendar spread. And the whole reason we do this, and this is the only trade I do over earnings, is to capture the volatility crush when the earnings come out. If you understand options, they're made up of the price of the stock, they're made up of volatility, and they're made up of time decay. And the volatility that's in those, because earnings are coming out, since the market makers have no idea which way the stock's going to go, they jack up the premiums. So what we do is we create a time spread or a calendar spread over earnings to capture that volatility crush when it occurs, and then we exit the trade and take that volatility crush and basically we're selling it, and we just buy it back cheaper. Okay, so that's one of the trades we use here. We also use a thing called a weekly ATM strategy, and this is meant to capture premium week after week. Basically, we're selling puts on neutral to bullish stocks. We're selling them on a weekly basis. They're at the money that we use, basically at the money type puts, and then we have a longer term long put that's further out in time to protect us and to reduce our premium requirements. So that's another one of the strategies that we use here. Really an effective strategy. We call it weekly ATM because we're selling at the money puts, but the ATM could also be automatic teller machine, since that's basically what this thing does. It really produces some really nice results. And then we have another one called the SPY Super System, and these are for very high probability trades to catch the SPY or the Q moves. I only do this in the room. I don't alert on this because these are usually way too fast, and it's basically when we know the institutions are lined up as bullish or bearish, and the market internals, which I'll go over in a little bit, are also lined up. So those are the strategies that you get. If you're on the alert service, it'll be from one of these four that you'll get alerted on. And this one here, if you're in the room, you get that one as well. You can imagine in the room, if we're doing a trade that only lasts 20 minutes or half an hour, it's not really practical to send that out on alert. It's not really fair to the alert service people. Okay, so those are the strategies we use here. This is this cumulative P&L. This is my own trading for the last 60 days, because I do have some profit and losses for the room based on $2,000 per trade, but this is my actual P&L based on using the Compass system and the alert service and the Dominator service system software that we use for market internals. This is what I've done personally, and the reason these vary is because at certain times of the trading, I'm going to take much smaller size than I do at other times. So that's why you see these herky-jerky moves here. You see in August we had a little drawdown, and then we've had a pretty consistent break, and it's up about and so far in October I'm up about another 6,000 on top of this. So yeah, probably about 27,000 right now, 28,000 for the last 60 days. But I just wanted to kind of show you that this is the kind of P&L graph you want to see. You want to go from the lower left to the upper right. All right, and this is some of the results, and I'm going to cover some results, and then I'm going to get into the strategies and the charts, etc. But this is the Compass Options trading rooms. This was from March through June 23rd. The reason I mentioned this was because I happened to put this out a while ago, but this is fairly representative of what we do, and what I'm using for comparing how the room is doing and how the alert service is doing relative for trading is I'm using a baseline of $2,000 in each trade. Now, obviously, you don't have to do that. You can use whatever you want, but I'm using a flat $2,000 just to keep track of this, because I can't practically adjust this based on what the market's doing. I've got to just take a $2,000 in each trade. So that's what this is producing. You can see the win rate stayed pretty consistent from 86 to 87.5%. I think in September we had 90% and 91%. So I'll share some of those with you. But you can see the profits we make. 8,900, 4,700, 7,600. These are pretty consistent. This was a little lower, and even though the rate was higher, the situation is you get choppy days. You don't have trending markets. You can't stay in the trades longer, or you might get a trade that goes against you hard because of a news event or something. So that all comes into play. But that was still almost 30,000 there in that amount of time. So that's a pretty decent return, I think. This I just throw up here. This is April 20th to the 27th. This is a bunch of trades that we took in that period, and they were all winners or break even. And the reason I put this up here is I just really wanted to show what our average percentage wins are. Okay, we didn't have any losses in this particular period of time. We do have losses, believe me. Everybody has losses, and I'll show you some of those. But again, you can see 16%, 10%, 12%, 15%, 30%, 24%, 27%. These are typical win rates where you have 34, 31. Typically, you can look for between about 15 and 40% on these wins, 15 and 35% average on the trades that we take. We're not trying to make a killing. I don't want people to expect that these trades are going to return you 500%, 600%, 1,000%, like some of these services promise you. I'll promise you that if somebody's telling you they can get 500% average for trade, they're lying to you. You can get some trades that'll be 500%, but guess what's going to happen? Your win rate's going to be about 10 or 15%. It's just not going to happen very often. All right, so those are some of the trades that we take, and you can see what the percentages are. I did cover the September trades. This is September 2023. This is a fairly recent. These are the trades that we took in September. 25 wins and 2 losses. That was a 92% win rate. That was a very good month for us in September. $2,000 invested each trade, about 77.88. You can see this stays pretty consistent. And September was a pretty hard month. It was a very, very difficult month to trade. There was some awful lot of herky-jerky action. A lot of, again, the market pulled down, the market went up. It was very difficult. But again, you can see our wins here. UPS 23%, AI 43%. Square was a little one, 5%, 32%. We had a loss on a firm, 86%, and we took a loss on Amazon. This was a news event that killed us, and we had to take a loss on it. But that happens. You're not going to have 100% winners. It doesn't happen. We had a big, huge win here in STX. This was really, really nice. This was just overnight, a 2-day trade. This was a 2-day trade, STX, 108%. Really, really nice trade. Pfizer 22, but you can see they're going to be all over the place, and it depends on what the market gives us. We take what the market can give us. That's all we can do. All right. So again, the September trading results, these were outstanding, and they were achieved in very difficult trading conditions. And I'm always proud of these win rates we have. They're really, really high, but it's not me. It's the idea that we can identify institutionals, and when the institutions are in the trade, and take those trades, and when they're not in the trade, bypass those trades. That goes a long way to keeping our win rate high. This was the October, so we just finished up the month of October. You can see here the trades that we had, and we had 67% loss in Etsy, a 36% loss in GNRC, and Sedge was 88. This was a fairly big loss. And had we stayed in this for 2 more days, by the way, it broke resistance, and I couldn't stay in it. I mean, we were short, and I broke support. I couldn't stay in it. 2 more days, and we would have been up about 50% on it. But that's water under the bridge, and when the technicals break, you got to get out. We didn't have a lot of time left. But again, RH 43% here, 61% on JD, break even here on Dollar General, 28% in AXP. So you can see the percentages, and I just want you to understand what you can expect for percentage gains on these trades. Listen, if you're trading and you're making 15 or 20% every single trade, and you can do that day after day, week after week, month after month, over a period of a year, that really adds up. I mean, it really adds up to a lot. And if you compare it to what you're getting for CD in the bank that are even at this point about 4%, it's pretty dramatic. Again, we had 24 wins, 4 losses, 86% win rate. And again, the profits weren't great. We had a couple of losses in here because we had to get out of these trades pretty quickly. Tesla 6%. We had to exit some of these trades because the market was so choppy, but still a good month. And this is November so far. I could actually add 2 more winners we had today on that. Here's DXCM, 15% up, CI 22, Microsoft 17, GNRC 20, and we had a loss on Roblox. We just took a nickel loss on that because it was coming up into earnings. 4 wins, 1 loss. Actually, it's 6 wins, 1 loss now. We added 2 today. We had a win today in Coin and a win in, I think it was CTVA. Look what it was. I think it was CTVA that we had a win in today. That was pretty nice. Yeah, CTVA. So we had CTVA and Coin today. So we're actually 6-1 now for November. Again, only 7 trades so far this month. Haven't taken an awful lot of trades this month because we've been chopping around the last couple of days. So, all right, and these are the trades that we took. These are trades that actually came out of these alert service trades. And I just kind of wanted to go over our entries, our exits, how long they lasted, and what we made. And these are not all of them, but these are the ones that I just had put up here. Again, Crowd in for $6.90, out for $8. That was an overnight trade, 16%. This STX, this is the one I talked about. We're in for $3.70. We get out for $7.70 in 2 days, 108% profit, $2,000. invested produced a $2,000 profit, which is pretty nice. Small for 16% profit here, but notice on a $2,000 investment, it produces a $330 profit. Over here, we had 32% profit in Amazon. That produced $600. BNTX, 50% profit, really nice trade. In for 81, out for $1.21 overnight. We get in at 81, out at $1.21 the next morning for $1,000 profit. Really nice. Same thing with Run. This is a solar stock. In for 33, out for 43 the next morning. Doesn't sound like much, 10 cents. That's a 30% profit on that thing. And if you had $2,000 worth of these options, you would have got a $600 profit out of it. So I won't go through every one of these, but you can see how consistent these are. Is 12 in for 4.15, out for 15 the next day. Most of them are intraday or overnight. Some of them last a little bit longer than that. Sometimes they'll last 3 or 4 days, but generally they're going to be that day or overnight. All right, so that's that one. And here are some of the other ones. Bristol Myers in for 165, out for 195. This was in the same day, 30 cents, 31% profit. This is another overnight trade here. And you see some of them are fairly small. The costs are fairly inexpensive. If we're doing time spreads or something, sometimes the cost is pretty inexpensive. Square was in at 66, out at 86. You think, oh, 20 cents, that's not much. Well, you know, if you put 10 of these contracts on, it costs you $660, and you made $200 overnight on just that 660. So that's pretty good. So again, you can see these here again, 30, 30, 30, 28, 50% on this TSM. And here's a loss we had in Etsy, 690, out for 225. We're in for several days, 67% loss, $930 loss. So you're gonna take some losses here and there. And that was one of the alerts that we sent out. All right, so let me just pop up, make sure we don't have any questions yet. And there will be a recording. And these day trades and swing trades, they're both, Dan. You know, the day trade swing trade break is going to be depending upon what the market gives us. We took BBY at the end of the day today, or close to the end of the day today. We didn't get a fill on it for our profit, so we had to keep it overnight. So that'll be an overnight trade. I do have enough overnight trades so that anybody who's on a PDT isn't only able to make 3 trades every 5 days. You get plenty of trades that last overnight. Most of them that you're going to get are going to be overnight on the alert service. And do I use EMA or SMA for the 50-day moving averages? I use for the 50, the 100, and the 200. I use SMAs, but for the 15 and any other ones I use the 8 sometimes. I use SMA. I use EMAs on those. The 15 on that chart is an EMA. Okay, so let me just move along here. Okay, so let's talk about the alert service first. The alert service, who is it designed for? Well, it's obviously designed for traders, for day trades and short-term swing traders, and it's obviously designed for traders who don't want to be watching their computer today or sitting in my room all day. Anybody who's in my room, by the way, gets the alert service anyway. So if they're in my room, if they're a member of my room, they get the alert service, which means if they're out of the room part of the day, they'll still get alerts on any trades that we're sending alerts out on. The alerts are real time on only the highest probability trade setups. That's why we don't have a lot of trades. We're only taking the very highest probability trade setups that we can get. And the way we find these high probability trade setups is 2 ways. We find if the institutions are in there buying or selling, and I'll show you how we do that with the Compass system. And then we also look for market internals. And market internals is the number of stocks moving up on up volume upticks versus the number of stocks moving down on down volume downticks. Got nothing to do with price. It's just strictly the number of stocks moving up on up volume and upticks versus moving down on down volume and downticks. When you've got 4 times as many stocks moving up on up volume upticks, then you have stocks moving down on down volume and downticks. Then you have obviously you have a bullish setup, and we get signals to tell us that that's the case. And then we use technical analysis. Once we find the best trades, we take technical analysis. Hold on just one second. All right, sorry about that. UPS man, come to the front door. The dog didn't like it. Sorry for the interruption. Okay, so again, once we find a trade that we feel like the institutions are in, we know that the institutions are in, then what we do at that point in time is we put technical analysis onto the chart to find the very highest probability trade we can find. And I have videos on all of these things. I call it the Top Gun video, which goes into the stocks once we find that the institutions are in there. I've got 4 or 5 of them. We try to find the best one. And it's very important because basically our objective in the room and on the alert service, our objective is not to make trades. I know that sounds crazy, but our objective is to make money. And we make money by only taking the very highest probability trade setups, which means we're patient, and when a lot of time goes by, we're actually not taking any trades. Okay, so that's what the alert service is for. That's how we find them. You know, go into much finer detail on that. So again, the trades are alerted by SMS message to your phone. And again, saying we have in the room is trade the best and skip the rest. Skip the rest is really important. If you can skip trades that you're going to lose money on, that's a big help right there. And every alerted trade is going to come to you on your phone. It's going to have your stock symbol, the option strike price, the option expiration date, and the price to pay for the option within a range. Sometimes it'll be 95 cents to $1. So you'll have a price to pay for the option. Now it may come with the exit price as well. So when you get filled, you can go ahead and put your sell price in there. But most of the time, I actually don't send out an alert with the sell price on it until after we've already been filled on the trade and I've been able to watch the price action for a while. Once I see what the price is doing, then I'll go ahead and put a sell order in and send out the alert on that. And when you do get an alert with the sell price on it, you want to make sure that it's entered as good till canceled. So when the market opens the next day, if you're not there, the trade can be executed even though you're not there at the trade, and you can get your profit. Because a lot of times you'll get gap ups and gap downs, and to me, gaps are like gifts. If you're long a stock and you get a gap in the morning, you want to take the money. A lot of people feel like they need to just wait and see what it does. The problem is a lot of times they'll reverse, and not only does that hurt because the price goes down, but because the volatility comes out of the premium at the same time, which hurts you as well. So typically on any gap ups or gap down, if I'm in the position, I'll take the profits. So that's how the alerts will come to you. Now, so I want to kind of go over how we got these results that you had seen, what we call stunning results. And again, we are able to identify when the institutions are driving a trade and when the market internals are heavily bullish or bearish. This we can tell from the software. And we only take trades, and I need to caveat this a little bit. We only take trades when both of these are in our favor, allowing us to align our trades with the institutions in the market. Now, if the institutions are in a trade, and we've got a buy signal on the compass system, which is the compass system, as I'll show you, that shows you what the institutions are doing. If I've got the compass system telling me that I want to buy, and the market internals don't have a buy, but they don't have a sell. In other words, the market internals are neutral. If the market internals are neutral and the compass system is telling me that the institutions are in there, I'll take those trades. I won't necessarily wait until the market internals go bullish, as long as they aren't bearish. A neutral market internals for me is still okay to take a long trade or a short trade if the compass system tells me the institutions are in there. Okay, because I mean that stock could be outperforming the rest of the stocks in the indexes by a lot, and you don't want to miss out on something like that. All right, so that's how we achieve these results. So I'm going to go into some details on this. The SPY Super, we call it the SPY Super System software. There's 2 pieces of software that I use to find these results. One is the compass system. Compass system is the main one I use that I run on Thinkorswim. It identifies stocks that are being moved by institutional buying or selling. It also obviously identifies stocks that don't have institutional buying or selling and moving them, so they can be avoided. That's really important. The second system that I use is called the Dominator system, and the Dominator system runs on Ninja. And the difference in the number of stocks moving up on volume and upticks versus this number of stocks moving down on down volume and down ticks is very large. So like I said, if you've got 500 stocks moving up and 100 stocks moving down, then you've got a bullish setup. If you get 200 stocks moving up and 250 moving down, that's going to be neutral. We're not going to get any buy or sell signals for it. So those are the two pieces of software that generate what's called the SPY super system, because I can use these in conjunction with each other to find the very highest trades. Now, if you're in the alert service, you may not care where the trades are coming from. You may just care whether they make you money or not. But I know a lot of people want to know where these trades are coming from, how we're finding them, and how I'm finding institutionals in there, how I'm finding market internals. And again, if anybody likes this, gets these, they can buy the software and have them themselves. I have a lot of people who come into the room, love the setup, love the making money, and then they bought the systems and use it themselves. So to do their own trading. But that's the SPY super system software. And I'll give you at the end of the webinar, we'll go over how you can buy these, what they cost, etc. So again, institutional money flow, really important, because that's how we're trading. We're trading with institutions. Don't think that you're trading against retail traders. You're not. Not trading against institutions, trading against retail traders. Those are you taking money from. And if you're going into a battle, and that's what trading is, it's a battle against other retail traders. You want to have the best weapons you can. And if the guy you're trading against is in there with a pea shooter, and you're rolling in with a tank, knowing where the institutions are and what the market internals are, you have a huge advantage. And listen, the way you make money trading is to have an edge. That's the only way you can make money, is to have an edge. And we have a big edge over the other retail traders. So this is, using these together has been the cornerstone of my successes. I didn't write this, of course, but again, together these systems they do provide a comprehensive view of the market, allowing me to precisely identify when institutions are influencing trades, and then also gauge the overall market sentiment. And then that way we can find exactly the ones that we want to take. All right, so that's the two pieces of software, and that's how I put them together to find the very best trades that there are. Now, the Compass system, this is how it identifies if the institutions are in there or not. And it's what's called a triple screen assessment. Triple screen assessment is a fancy way of saying fractals or multiple time frames. We look at three different things. We look at momentum on the Compass system, and we look at trend, and we look at money flow. These three things together. Now we're looking at these on current time frames and multiple time frames. Trend, current time frames, multiple time frames. Money flow, current time frames, multiple time frames. When all of these things are lined up going in one direction across the current time frame and multiple time frames, the likelihood that it's institutions driving that stock price, that trend, is extremely high. I mean, extremely high. We're talking about 95, 96, 97% of the time. Now, that doesn't mean they stay in all day long, but once you find a trade that has these three things being moved at the same time across multiple time frames, you can be very sure that the institutions are doing this. So that's what we look for. That's what the Compass system identifies for us. Compass system is going to look pretty simple, but there's some pretty nice calculations going on. All right, so the market internals dominator software, this separate piece of software runs on Ninja, and it's looking at the market internals for 5 indexes. It wants to know what's going on right now. This is just looking at the current time frame. It wants to know what's going on in the Dow, the New York Stock Exchange, triple Qs, NASDAQ, the SPY, the S&P 500, and the Russell 2000. So it's looking across all 5 of those. And then it's analyzing the number of stocks moving up on up volume and upticks versus the number of stocks moving down on down volume and downticks on each one of those indexes. And then it looks across all of the indexes. So it's looking at them individually, and it's looking across all of them in order to make a determination of whether there's a buy or sell signal. And the reason this is important is if you're looking at the example, let's say you're looking at the Dow, and let's say with the Dow, you got 25 stocks moving up and 5 moving down, right? You got a nice bullish setup on the Dow. But let's say the Russell 2000 at the same time, this is 25 moving up and 5 moving down. The Russell 2000 has 1,500 moving down and 5 moving up. Then that's not bullish, that's bearish. So in order to get a buy or sell signal, we have to have enough of a disparity across all of these indexes to justify that. So that's why we look at each one individually and then accumulate them to do a cumulative look to see where the index is, whether they're bullish or bearish. So again, I just mentioned this is what it's looking at. It's analyzing the number of stocks, not the price of the stocks, but the actual number of stocks. It's just strictly number. I mean, it could be up 2 cents and another one could be up $1. Those are both moving up if they have up volume and up ticks. In other words, if the ticks are going up and the volume is also going up. And again, I can use it in conjunction with the compass system to identify even higher probability trade setups. Okay, so we're going to look at some charts here. Let me just see if there's any questions before I go into the charts. Thanks, 50, 100, 200. Oh, you look at the SMAs, yeah, right, 50, 100, 200, and the 8, 20. I use the 8 and the 15, but those are exponential. How do I scale in or go all in for 2,000 worth of options? You know, Nina, that's a good question. And how you enter a trade, a lot of it depends on what your take is, what your thesis is on the market for that day. I mean, if it's a trending day and you think you want to get in and then buy some of it and then buy some more and then buy some more and then scale out, I do that a lot. I'm not going to do that on the alerts because it's way too time consuming to do that. But a lot of times I'll buy, you know, let's say I want to buy 40 calls, you know, I'll buy 10 calls, then I'll buy 20 calls, and then I'll buy 10 calls, and I'll have 3 sets of them, and I'll be buying them like if I go long and the stock's moving in my direction, and then it pullbacks to support and then bounces and heads back up again, I'll add another 20. So yeah, I'll do it like that. But you know, there's nothing wrong with on these trades, especially if it's going to be a quick trade like today. It had to be fairly quick because it was a pretty choppy day. You don't really have a trending market. So what you've got to do is you probably just want to get in and get out. Buy the whole $2,000, or on a day like this, I wouldn't recommend 2,000. I would say maybe 1,000 would be a lot better because you don't want to take as big a risk on a choppy day as you do on a trending day. And then I'll exit. By the way, I'll exit the trade by if I've gone in on 3 different sets, I'll go ahead and exit that way. I'll take a quarter off, a half off, or whatever, and then scale out as the stock price either goes up or comes down. All right, so we're going to take a look at some trades, and the reason for this is to show you the compass system in action, and I want to show you the indicators and how we use them and how they work for us. So again, this is the compass system, and this is Thinkorswim. I mean, and again, we have a lot of colors here. I mean, if you're looking at this is Microsoft. If you're looking at this, it doesn't take any genius to understand that this is bullish. We got green across the board across all of our indicators here. We've got a 15 EMA right here, which is moving up. All right. This pink line, by the way, is VWAP, which I do not use on a daily chart. This is a daily chart. I only use it on 5-minute chart. But so we have an up moving stock here. Microsoft is obviously it's bullish. So this was one that we just took the other day. So this is Microsoft. Nice trade here. You can see it moving up. And this is the daily chart. Now I want to show you the 5-minute chart. Okay, so here's the 5-minute chart on Microsoft. So what you're seeing here is where we took this trade. Now, you see this is the end of day right here on a Monday. This is the close of the day. You see this pop out of the box symbol. This pop out of the box signal right here. You get these in the compass system. This tells you when the compression is being broken. This tells you that you've got a compression break to the upside. The blue one is compression to the downside. We were interested in this long because you see notice how we had blue and green here. We had blue and we had on the multi-time frame, current time frame, and longer term trend was all green. This down here is bias. This is the last one that I use, and it's the one that changes color the slowest. So if I've got green and blue here, I'm not really going to pay too much attention to this one. In this particular case, I had a green E15 EMA sloping up on the 5-minute chart. So I bought the options here, and we held them overnight because we love this. We love the setup, as you can see. The setup here was beautiful, right? And we get in on this particular trade, and this was right here where we actually took it. and we see how we got that gap up. So, and I told you, gaps are gifts. So when this gapped up in the morning on Microsoft, we took the trade off. That's a pretty big run right there. It was a pretty nice run. I forget what we made percentage-wise on it, but it was pretty nice. I didn't wait in any longer than that. But you can see here that we had a daily chart that told us that we wanted to get in, and I always take trades long if you have the daily chart and the 5-minute chart aligned. If I want to go long a stock and the daily chart, and I'm looking at the 5-minute chart and the daily chart is bearish, I'm not going to touch it. I want to be able to have the daily chart aligned with my 5-minute chart so that I have the flexibility to stay in the trade all day if I want to, or keep it overnight if I want to. You know, that's important. It gives you a lot more flexibility in the trade. So this obviously was bullish. I mean, I didn't have any problem with holding this overnight because of that. And we got a nice break here on this pop up in the morning, and we're out. You know, overnight, boom, we're out of the trade. All right, so that was Microsoft. And again, here's your 15 EMA. These dots here are called trend dots. These green dots here are called acceleration dots. This tells you that in this particular case on the 5-minute chart, that the current time frame, which is right here, this is the momentum on the current time frame. When it's there, it's telling you that it's pegged at the highest that it can be. This is done using an oscillator, a Laguerre oscillator with the divergence stripped out. It's just looking at straight momentum, and this is what tells us that we had momentum strong on the 5-minute chart, and that's all I needed to know along with the multi-time frame. It was a good entry on that one. You notice here that it was blue, by the way. Still, blue is fine, but you notice we got the green dot, which means at the end of the day, this Laguerre had gone to the max. Laguerre oscillator goes between 0 and 100, and so it was at 100, maxed out, popped up, out of the trade. Okay, this was a trade on Moderna right here. This was a short. Now, I mean, is it hard to see that this is a short looking at the compass system? Not really. This was a daily chart we've got right here on Moderna. This was my entry on it right here, all yellow and red. I mean, current time frame, current momentum went from green to yellow right here. That means it switched off to selling. Institutions were selling. This is where I get in, and we made a 33% profit in this Moderna trade. I think we held it just for the one day, actually, overnight here. But the point of this is just to show you how clear cut the compass system shows you what's going on as far as the institutions are concerned. And so I knew that the institutions were selling this, so I didn't have any problem going short. It was obviously a short setup on the daily. The 15 sloping down, everything's red. It's beautiful. Amazon, again, not a difficult trade here. Again, it's so easy to see here. The longer term time frame here, the longer term momentum here was yellow, so it was still kind of chopping around. But everything else was gone to green, and I don't have any problems jumping into a trade when the current trend is green, which you see it is here on this 15 EMA, when the multi-time frame and current time frame momentum are strong. So I know my trend is strong currently, and this likely is going to turn green, which of course it did. And I went ahead and took that trade. And the reason I took it right here is you can see how we're coming out of a compression here. Stocks compressing and bouncing up right here. This is the day that we took that trade. 32% profit on that Amazon trade right there. JD trade is a short trade. Again, this is a daily chart. Not complicated. You see how the current time frame momentum, which is on the daily, was blue and green. We were bullish here. But see how as soon as we get this candle and it broke down below this shaded area. The shaded area I haven't discussed yet, but that's called that's the dynamic compression zone that the compass system creates. When a stock breaks above or below the dynamic compression zone, it's a breakdown of compression. And so this was a breakdown of compression on the daily right here on JD. And again, we took this JD trade and we took it for a 61% profit once it switched over here to red and yellow. I mean, we had current time frame went yellow. That means that the institutions are selling. They were already selling across the multi-time frame, and we had, of course, the trends were both red here. All right, another one here, Dollar Tree. Again, this is Dollar Tree. This is I'm showing daily charts here. We obviously do a lot of 5-minute charts as well, but I just want you to clearly see how these work. Now, Dollar Tree had been selling for a long time. I mean, look at the red on here. These are every day. It was red across the board. So this was bearish. But you notice we didn't get any big price moves to the downside. Now we get this dynamic compression zone right here, and I bought it over here on just when this candle came in, because we were kind of breaking a compression. I mean, I could have bought it over here and rode it for a while, but I don't really want to stay in these things for a week with options with time decay. So I took it right here on this day, and we get a 25% profit on this big drop right here. But again, it's so simple to see that the institutions are in here selling. D-Dog, another one. And again, I'm just trying to get you acquainted with the charts and what we find. But this was Datadog. It was bearish. Now here's a dynamic compression zone. You see the dynamic compression zone, the shade right here, shading. You see the break below the dynamic compression zone right here. As it broke below it, and then gap breakdown the next day, 21% profit. All yet yellow or red. We got momentum is bearish on the daily. On the multi-time frame, longer term trend is bearish. The current trend is bearish with this red line. Everything's lined up bearish. So short is the way you go. And crowd's another one. And again, these are daily charts. And this was crowd after earnings. And you notice we had yellow color here, and then it went to blue. That's bullish. And it went to yellow, then it went to blue. We were getting a lot of chop here. But in this particular day, this is the daily chart. When we looked at the daily chart, we had bullishness here, and we were on the 5-minute chart when we took this trade. So we took it right here on this gap up because everything was telling us this was a buy coming out of this dynamic compression zone. We took it, and we just stayed in for the day. We just took 20% in crowd on that move right there, and we could have stayed in. You notice that it kept going up, but there was some the multi-time frame was kind of chopping around a little too much for me to really stick with it. So once I get 20% on the day in that trade during the day, I was happy with it. Amazon, now we're down a 5-minute chart here. All right, this is the 5-minute chart. Now, if you're looking at Amazon, you notice we've got a lot of compression here. This is the 15 EMA right here. It's actually a smooth EMA, and it's green, telling us we're bullish. And then we get this pop out of the box symbol. This is telling us that we're getting a compression break, and it's coming right off of the 15. That's a nice support area to buy from. We like to buy at support, sell at resistance. So this gave us the ability to take a trade right here. We took 32% in 45 minutes on this trade. We just get in here, and we just rode it up, and we started getting some compression and stuff. We took the trade off and made money. But notice it went to green here. It's green across the board. The longer term trend was still yellow here, but the current trend was green, and my momentum was all green. So that was good enough for me to take for long, especially with the breakout of the box symbol and knowing that the institutions were in there buying this as well. All right, so that was a 32% trade in 45 minutes. ENPH, you may be familiar with ENPH, energy. Okay, this was a short trade. And again, I repeat these because I want you to see how clear the Compass Systems makes these. This is a 5-minute chart. It's like 10:15 in the morning. You see it's bearish. We're below the VWAP. I always only take shorts below the VWAP and longs above the VWAP on a 5-minute chart. So we've got a little breakdown here. We get some compression, and then we get a pop out of the box symbol right here to the downside, bearish, coming off the 15 EMA, which is sloping down. Everything is red. Compass Systems tell me that all the institutions are selling here. We jump in here and we take this trade down, and we made 20% in 1 hour. Again, we get in about 10:45 and we get out right down in here for 20% gain. That was pretty nice. And again, everything is staying red here. All right, let's take a look at one more. Verizon. Now, Verizon is an interesting stock. The options are always very tight on it. They're 2 or 3 cent spread between the bid and the ask, and we didn't pay an awful lot for this one. We bought it right here in this breakdown. Obviously, it's bearish. We brought it right down here in this breakdown below the VWAP with a pop out of the box symbol. I get in, and we get into this this trade at 45 cents, 45 cents, and that's what the option cost us. And we wrote it down for 1 hour, and we made 50% profit. We get out at 45, I get out at 65, I think, or 67. It was basically a 50% profit in 1 hour on this, and a pretty clear cut call. I mean, you could have stayed in it, but to me, if you can get 50% in an hour on a trade like Verizon, I'm not going to give that up. It's too easy to take. Okay, here's a SPY trade. Now this is a SPY super system. I want to kind of show the SPY super system. There's two elements to it. This is the SPY super system on the Compass system. All right. So what's the Compass system telling me? Well, you notice it's all bearish. It's yellow or red across the board. I'm getting a move here off of this 15 EMA. See this 15 EMA sloping down here, and I got to pop out of the box symbol right here. So this is bearish. This is okay. I can go ahead and buy puts on the SPY right here. All right. But to be a super system setup, I need the dominator. Okay, here's the dominator. This is the Ninja platform that shows the dominator. Okay, so the dominator system has a couple of elements here that are pretty important. This is all the indexes we talked about, the 5 different indexes, and whether they're whether the stocks are moving up or down in it. Red obviously is telling you that you've got a lot of stocks moving down inside those indexes. But the background color is very important. This dark pink tells you that the multi-time frame trend on the Ninja platform on the SPY is very bearish, very bearish. So this is where we take a look at that. Now you see how we get sell signals right here and right here. This tells us that the Ninja platform, or the dominator system, is lined up short at the same time that the Compass system is lined up short. So these two were in conjunction with each other. So this was a SPY super system. These things have extremely high probability trades. Now they don't last a long time sometimes, because you know the SPY can bounce around a lot. But it's very important that when those line up, you can get in and take some puts and ride them for a few candles. I think this one we rode for like 4 candles, just as it came down right here like this, and then get out, because you don't want to overstay your welcome in some of these things. Because you see how it bounced right back up here. But here we had a nice setup, and there is the conjunction. There it is in conjunction with the Ninja, and I have both of these things up and running in my computer every day on a couple of different screens. And in the room I would call it out, say we got a SPY super system set up. I'm taking some SPY puts, and I'm getting in, and people can follow it or not follow it. But I just want to make people know that it happens, and this doesn't happen all the time. A lot of days we didn't get any of these today. Here's a Netflix trade. Again, a bearish trade, another bearish trade. See, we went from blue, bullish, to yellow, bearish. Right there in this pop out of the box symbol, coming off of the VWAP. VWAP is a good support resistance level. That's a good entry right there. So we took Netflix right there for a short, and we wrote it down. And again, you see how the trend line is red. 15 EMA is red coming down. We stayed in the trade, and we get out right down here as it started to flatten out. And they were telling us there was no reason to get out. There was probably no reason to get out here either, but I was happy with the profits, and I didn't like this compression, so I took the money. This was a trade we took on straight off of the dominator, straight off of the dominator system on Ninja. Dark pink background, very bearish. Breakdown here with a sell signal right here. All of the indicators down here, which were the 5 different indexes, were all red. Took it right here, and we just rode this down right here to this bottom, and to get out here for 3 points, $250 a contract on the SPY. Pretty quick trade right there. And I know a lot of people that actually use and trade the SPY and the Qs directly off of the Ninja platform, but I much prefer to use the Compass and the Ninja in conjunction with it. Another trade on Tesla here. This was when we took in the afternoon. We got out right at the end of the day. You can see we get blue here, and then we go to yellow right here in the current time frame momentum. Went to bearish. Multi-time frame was bearish. Multi-trend was bearish. Pop out of the box signal right off the 15. The price is coming off the 15. That's a resistance area that we want to be using for our entry. We took it right there, and we wrote it down, and we get out right here, right at the end of the day. We get out with a 30% profit on Tesla, which is a good thing we did it. moved up pretty hard the next day. This was an overnight trade in Tesla we took. We liked this setup here on the overnight. See how everything was red. The 15 EMA was moving down. We had blue and red across the board, blue and yellow across the board here on all of our indexes. We had them on the long-term trend here, the multi-time frame momentum, current time frame momentum, all red or yellow. So it's a short, and you notice that we had a pop out of the box signal. I like that. It was coming off the VWAP. I like that. The stock looked like a short setup. We actually took it overnight. We held this thing overnight because we liked the setup so much. And it fell from 120 to 112. And you can imagine the puts exploded here, and they did. We went up about $7 a contract on the puts on Tesla overnight right there. I get out right here. Could have got out anywhere along here, but the compass system was telling us it was still bearish. So we stayed with that. This I just showed because I wanted to explain. I use what's called Fibonacci reversal symbols. I have a whole video on Fibonacci reversal symbols. What I use Fibonacci candlesticks for is basically to confirm a reversal. So when a stock is, in this case, it had been compressing, I'm trying to find a break on the compression. I'm trying to find something that's telling me that it's been confirmed. If I look at a regular 5-minute candle, I got to wait for some candles to see if I'm getting confirmation. Fibonacci is made up of 2 different candles. So when you get a candle like this, which has a wick and a tail, or especially a tail on it, tail, when you go to a flat bottom on a Fibonacci candle, flat bottom candles are bullish. And as long as you keep getting bullish candles with, notice there's no tails on any of these. The 5-minute candles would have tails. These have no tails. And so you can stay in this trade because it's bullish all the way up to here, where you start getting wicks and tails now. That's telling you that Fibonacci candles are telling you that you're bullish. And this is what I would look for if I had a stock pulling back to support and I wanted to go long. I switched to my Fibonacci candles to see if I've got an actual reversal with a wick on the previous candle and a flat bottom on this candle. That's how I use Fibonacci candles. This is QSR. This is one I just want to show how I use the different time frames. This was QSR on a daily right here. See how this was blue? This went from yellow to blue. Everything's green across the board, multi-time frame trend, and multi-time frame momentum, current time frame momentum. So this was you see it gapped up right here and then moved up again. So this is where I was interested in taking this stock, taking QSR. But I'm going to do a day trade on it. So what do I need to do? Well, I know it's bullish on the daily, so that meets the criteria of having a bullish daily trade. Now I need to look at my 5-minute chart. Here's my 5-minute chart. All right, so here's QSR, compressing. Goes red and then goes yellow in the current time frame. Multi-time frame, still momentum, still green. Multi-time frame trend, still green. Current time frame green, still green. And I've got a pop out of the box signal right off of the 15 EMA. Again, support, bouncing off support. So I get in right there, and this thing went yellow. I did not exit the trade. I'm not going to exit on one candle, and it went sideways, and then off it went, and it took off beautifully. And this was a QSR trade that we took because I knew the daily was lined up, so I didn't have any problem holding this thing all day or overnight if I needed to. Now, at the same time, when I'm looking at QSR, I'm looking at QSR on the dominator system. So this is QSR for the dominator. What's the dominator telling me? QSR's got a multi-time frame trend is bullish, very bullish, and I'm getting in right here. This is where I get in. You see these compression right here? That's the compression that corresponds to this. This is where I get in right here on this compression. Now I didn't have a buy signal on the dominator yet. See, they come in up here. But this was a trade that I was happy to take because the compass system was bullish, the dominator system was bullish, and I didn't have a problem with buying this out of compression. Now, if you were more conservative, you could have waited until you got the buy signals up here, and then you'd have buy signals and the compass system being long, and you could have taken it right here. But I prefer to get in off of here and take advantage of taking this early, and assuming that we're going to get some buy signals. Again, another trade entry for SPY. This is a black background on Ninja. This tells you there is no multi-time frame trend. This is completely neutral. Once you go to a light pink, you've got a bearish trade, and this was a nice entry right here as we broke down below this 15 EMA and just rode this thing down for like 3 candles. Again, I don't really stay in the SPY trades very long. I just want to, if I get the direction right, I just want to take my money and get out. And this was another SPY trade right here using the dominator, just kind of showing you the dominator system. And you can see the buy arrows, you can see the background color going from, this is actually supposed to be a light green, looks like light blue to me, but light green and then dark green, we got a bullish setup. And you look at the buy signals here. This is just, you can buy this anywhere in here and just ride it up through the rest of the day. And same thing with Netflix, exactly the same thing, dark green background. So that's the dominator system. On a trade like this, of course, you probably wouldn't catch this big candle. You'd wait for compression, and then you would buy on this pop out of compression. That's how I would treat that. And one more on the SPY. So I don't want to bore you too much. I just want you to see the dominator system and the compass system, and how it's so easy to read bullish and bearish setups, and how you know the institutions are in the trade by using the compass system. And this is just some specs I ran on the compass system and the compass dominator trades. This was last year, but the reason I did this last October through December was the dominator system came out last October. So I was making trades just off the compass system, and what I did was I took trades from 10-1 to 12-28 that had the compass system identified as buys or sells, so I knew the institutions are in there, but I didn't have any dominator signals that were the same. I had the dominator up and running, but I did not have buys or sell signals. I had neutral. So these are compass trades that were long or short, but dominator neutral. I had 129 wins and 12 losses for 90.2% win rate, which is in the range of what we usually do. Now the compass dominator trades that I took, these again were fewer trades. Of course, there's not going to be as many trades. 113 wins and 2 losses here. When those lined up for a 97.4% win rate, pretty astronomical win rate, very, very difficult to maintain that kind of wins. And we did have a good market. Let's be honest, we had a good market during those 3 months. So trading was easier than it can be in a choppy market. But still, this is a pretty dramatic increase in percent wins when you add those two together. So that's why I try to find trades that both of those line up. It doesn't always happen. And this is just some bragging, I guess, about how I've been trading. In April we had 19 wins in a row, followed by 10 wins in a row in May. So we had 29 wins in a row in that short period of time. 2,000 in each trade would produced $11,241 profit for the 29 trades. And this is not normal. I can't get 29 wins in a row all the time. But I think the most losses I've had in a row is 3. I have had 3 losses in a row. But so that was pretty strong. And again, here's just a recap of the strategies that we use. Straight calls and puts, debit spreads using weekly options expiration. That's important, weekly options expiration. Time spreads over earnings, calendar spreads to capture volatility crush, and weekly ATMs to sell premium week after week. I also do put credit spreads. I should have put that in here too. I do put credit spreads. We have one on NVIDIA right now. We sold the put credit spread. We collected the $60 in premium on each contract. Today they were down to 15 cents, so we can buy them back and make 45 cents a contract on those things. It's a nice setup on that. And I have a video on put credit spreads, and I'll add that to here. We do put credit spreads, and that went out on the alert as well. So again, here's the alert service right here. This is how it looks. And let's just go over the alert service. This was my profits. This is old. This was as of September. This doesn't count October, November. It's up a little over 50,000 now, 52, 53,000. This is assuming $2,000 in each trade. This is not my P&L. This is the P&L that I produce by looking at $2,000 in every single trade. Obviously, when I trade, sometimes I'll trade $2,000. Sometimes I'll trade $5,000. Sometimes I'll trade $1,500. Sometimes I'll trade $1,000. But for the room and the alert service, I have to have some sort of baseline that I can go by. So I'm just saying, $2,000 per trade. This is what it would have produced. Now the Compass Options Text Alert, if you buy it, it's $9.96 a year. And when you go in, there'll be a link in the chat room that'll get you to the order for this. The coupon code is save 500. Normally it's $14.96. They'll save you 500. That's annually $9.96. Or you can sign up if you just want to try it for a quarter, $2.96 for a quarter. Use the coupon code save 100. That's gonna get you annually or quarterly. If you get in quarterly at $2.96, it will be renewed at $2.96. But it's cheaper, obviously, to buy the annual setup on this than the quarterly one. Again, the SPY Super System. Now, if you're interested in the software and or my room, the SPY Super System, which is the Dominator and the Compass system, this is like 1998. Now you're getting, again, you're going to use the Save 1000. You're getting the Compass trading system that we showed you, the Market Internals Dominator trading system that we showed you. You're getting the text alerts for 3 months. When you buy the two systems, you'll get the text alert for 3 months. You'll also get access to my trading room for 3 months. That's about trading rooms, I think $149 a month normally. So about $450 worth of value right there in the trading room. It also includes the market scanners. I have several scanners in the Compass system that I use. We have a private Discord trading chat room where we have 2 other professional traders in there. They'll answer questions, post charts, so you can go on live and talk to them live. In my room, I also answer questions all day long and post charts all day long. People can ask questions, and I'm basically educating and talking about trades all day long. I do take a lunch break, but that's about it. Then there's the Wise Way to Trade Options Master. These are all my about 20 videos that I've done on the strategies, how to use the Compass system indicators and to find the highest probability trades, how to use the Compass system and the Dominator system in combination to find the highest probability trades, one on the SPY Super system, again, one that's called the Top Gun strategies, which is how you delve more into technical analysis when you find a good trade to find even the better one. And those are what's called class modules. And then you'll get installation and customer service. They'll put this on your computer. You don't have to do any technical work. You get Thinkorswim up there. They'll go ahead and pop it on there, and you can get Thinkorswim for free. You don't have to trade off the Thinkorswim platform. I don't. I run it on the Compass on Thinkorswim. I do not trade on Thinkorswim. I trade on TradeHawk using Tradier I use the front end of TradeHawk with Tradier as my trading platform because the commissions are so cheap. So that's how I use it. So you do want to put the Compass system on Thinkorswim, but you don't have to trade there. I mean, I look at the setups on Thinkorswim to get the stock I want, and then I go to my other platform and put the trade in there. And again, they'll put that on your TOS system. If you get the Ninja platform as well, the Dominator, they'll put that on the Ninja platform. The Ninja is free. They'll install the Dominator trading for you. Now, if you have the Dominator, you have to buy a feed, a data feed for the market internals. They don't send it anywhere else except to the Ninja platform. But you would have to buy that data feed. It's about $90 a month, I think, for that data feed. But again, this is for serious traders. I mean, I obviously have this in people who are professionals and people who are serious about trading. They want the best tools. This is what they use. So again, 1998 with that Save 1000, you'll get what's called the SPY Super System. This is the whole ball of wax that's going to get you everything. And now you also can sign up for my room separately. You can just ask Rory about that if you just want to not get the software, but you want to get into my room. You get into my room. Typically, you can get in there for $139 a month, I think. And you can get it in 1 month, 3 months, a year, however you want. And being in the room is going to get you the alerts anyway, so you don't have to try and sign up for the alert service. But if you're not going to be in the room and you want the alerts, then you would just sign up for the alert service right here, $9.96, $2.96. And again, this is the get your everything here. These are obviously reviews. I have lots and lots of people who love the room. I mean, I've got people. I started this in January of 2022, which is when I started this room, and this is now November of 2023, coming up on 2 years. And I've got people that were in there the first month that are still in there, lots of them, and are making money. And I mean, that's the whole name of the game here. And again, there's the alert service right there. And there's the SPY Super System. So that's what you've got. And again, if you have any questions and you'd like Rory to talk to you, or you think you may be interested, but you don't want to do anything, you go ahead and put your username your name and number or your Skype username in the chat box. Rory will give you a call back. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and see what we've got for questions here. And I've been talking for about an hour and 10 or 12 minutes. So, all right, let's see. Jose, how many trades do I make a day, or how many weeks do you go out in option trades? Well, you know, the number of trades I do a day is dependent on the market more than anything else, and how many high probability trade setups I can do. Today we did 2 trades in the room. I didn't alert on anything because they were both quick, and the market is stuck between the 50-day and the 100-day moving average. Not a good time to be trying to do anything to hold overnight. So I didn't alert anything, but we took 2 trades in the room today. We took a nice long on coin this morning, and we took a short in CTVA, which came up on one of the scanners that we had on Thinkorswim, and that was a good one. As far as how far I would go out for option trades, well, listen, if I'm doing a debit spread, I'm expiring this week because the debit spreads are only for this week. If I'm doing, for example, on the NVIDIA put credit spread I took, those expire next week because I have to make those expire before earnings. You can't hold put credit spreads over earnings, so you've got to have them expire before earnings. But generally speaking, if I'm buying straight puts and straight calls, I'm going to go out anywhere from 2 weeks minimum to about 4 weeks. I don't go too much further than that unless I have a reason. Now, the weekly ATMs are a different story. I'd have to go into the strategy of how I do those, and I have a video on how those weekly ATMs work. But typically, straight puts and straight calls, I'm going to go out 2 weeks to 4 weeks generally. If I think I'm only going to be in it for a day trade, I'll go out a couple of weeks. If I think I maybe want to hold this for a few days because it may pull back or something, then I'll go out 4 weeks. I might sometimes even go a little bit further than that, but that's about as far as I go out. Again, I want to get the lowest price I can for the option. Now, I also buy in the money options. I do not buy out of the money options. I don't recommend buying out of the money options. It's a losing game unless you're doing what's called a lottery on Friday, where we can buy something that you're expecting to get in the money before the end of the day. But typically, my options I take are all going to be in the 65 to 70 delta area, so I've got some intrinsic value in those particular options when I take them. Let's see. You're on Amazon and Verizon charts that said energy level 5. What does that mean? Dan, that's going to be come off of there. It was something I was testing out, and I've yet to be able to get it to take off of there. I need to have that taken off. I don't use the energy level and trend. I don't use this. It was something I was trying to see if I could make it be effective to help with the directions or when to take a trade, but it didn't. So those are going away. What's my trading room like, Nina? Is it all day? It's all day. I try to get in there around 9 to 9:15. I open up the room 9 to 9:15. I have I usually have the compass system up always with toss. I usually have the ES on there, the futures, so I can watch the futures prior to the open, and then I switch over to the SPY to see what the SPY does at the open. So the room, I'm in the room all day long, 9:15, and usually till about 4:15 at the end of the day to ask any questions. And the Discord room is open all the time as well. So plenty of time on those things. And again, if you're interested in the system, you can go into the chat box, and there's a link in there to the systems we just talked about. And you got Rory's number there, 786-732-4656. So go ahead and call him, or just drop your name in the question box here if you your name and number if you'd like him to give you to contact you. All right, so that's about all I've got on the system. Again, I will just want to show you something. I'm going to drop this down, and I want to pop up the compass system. Okay, here's the compass on the SPY right now. These are what I've got running here for scans. I have a cascading up scan. This looks for stocks that have on a 5-minute chart that have got 3 or more green candles in a row. So if I've got a market that's moving back and I run the cascading up, if it's moving down, then I'm going to find all the stocks that are bullish in that 5-minute time period. And that's what this does. All I have to do is click on the symbol, and it pops right up on the screen, and then I can look at it and see what it's doing. And if I think I like it, I can look over here and switch it to daily and see what's the daily chart look like. And I see in a case like this, the daily chart looks pretty nice. And again, this is Ethereum. This is a crypto. So, you know, crypto was really strong today. And so I say, yeah, that's pretty nice move. Stock's moving down and this is moving up. That would be a pretty good buy. So that's that. And then this was a new yearly highs. This right here is relative strength versus the SPY on a 5-minute basis. So I've got, those are some of the scans. And if you buy the Compass system, you get all of the scans that I've got, and they'll be installed in your machine, so you've always got access to them. Hi, Rise. So the live trading room is on Zoom and Discord. The live trading room is it's a go-to webinar. No, you log into a go-to webinar link that you get, and that's where I am broadcasting all day on the go-to webinar. But we also have a Discord room that you get access to, which you can go back and forth between, where we have 2 other traders in there, which you can talk to them, or you can look at the information they're putting out there, and look at the charts that they post, etc. So you always have access to the Discord room if you join. How many alerts do I send daily for the 996 deal? And again, the number of trades that we take depends on how many high probability trade setups we find and what the market's doing. So on a day like this, I didn't send any alerts out because the market's chopping around. I'm not going to send something out to hold overnight if I don't know which way the market's going to go. But I would say if you're just looking for a comparison, typically in the room we call out about 40 to 45 trades a month. The alert service, you probably get, I would guess average is probably about 20 to 25 trades a month on the alert service, because of the fact that you know, I can't alert on the SPY super systems, and I can't alert on trades that are going to be really quick, 15-20 minutes. But typically you're going to get, I think in the last week we sent out about 7. Because you know, you can't guarantee how many trades there's going to be, how many good trades are there. You know, depends. Some days there's a lot, some days there hardly any. If you looked at some of the stats I had in there, some months I had 42, 43, some months I had 27, so it varies. Okay, Nina, that answers your question. Good, I appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to let everybody go. I appreciate your taking your time to visit my webinar, listen to it. I hope you understand how important the having access to something that tells you what the institutions are doing. You know, it's really important. To me, it was a big help when I was able to find institutions trading, how to find those. What's the bottom bar on the Compass system right here? This is what's called the bias or the confirmation, and it's kind of a money flow confirmation bar, but it tends to be too slow for me. It does change color, and it does tell you about that, but I much prefer the multi-time frame momentum and current time frame momentum. Now, if this lines up and gives you that's good. Now, if you're talking about this green bottom bar here, this is when the 15, and see this trend dot, the trend dots? When the trend dots cross above the 15 EMA, which was this thin green line, when they cross above that, you'll get this. And I have a scan that finds that, and it also finds these pop out of the box signals. So I can get a scan that runs so I can find anytime this occurs or anytime these occur. I think that's what you're probably talking about there, Robert. Again, these 2 things are going away. This is the VWAP, by the way, volume weighted average price. I use this all the time on a 5-minute chart. When stock breaks above that, it's actually a pretty good entry for it. Let me go back to the SPY today and see what the SPY did today. It was our open this morning, little gap up, then pulled down, and we pretty much chopped around most of the day. Nothing really too good as far as direction was concerned. We had a little bit of weakness this afternoon. There's that dynamic compression zone I was telling you about. Fell out of the dynamic compression zone right here and was a short, and this is how we ended the day. Okay, thanks very much, everybody. Listen, I very much appreciate it. I hope to see some of you folks in the room. Take a quick, again, download the link from the Compass from the chat room, and you'll be able to have access to what those systems are. Or you can call Rory, and he'll go over it with you. and tell you exactly what it, if you have any questions on it. I know there's a lot to cover here, but again, the key thing you want to remember is if you want to trade successfully, you've got to know what the institutions are doing, and you've got to trade with them. I mean, that's the bottom line on this. Okay, everybody, listen, have a great night. Thanks so much for being here. Wrapping up the week tomorrow, and I hope to see some folks in the room. And appreciate your taking time here to visit with me today and listen to the webinar. Thanks a lot.